My name is Rick, and I worked overnight at Walmart for almost a year before I realized one of my coworkers was in T who he said he was. Overnight shifts change people. You work under buzzing fluorescent lights while the rest of the world sleeps. You eat from vending machines at 2 a.m. You form weird bonds with the same 5 or 6 people because they read the only humans you see consistently. That's how I met Kevin. He started around the same time I switched to nights. Quiet guy. Mid-30s maybe. Nice. Said he had just moved from another state and needed a fresh start. Kept to himself, did his job, never complained. Managers liked him because he picked up extra shifts. Looking back, that's probably what made it easy for him. First, nothing seemed off. He worked grocery most nights while I handled paper goods and chemicals. We detoxed during breaks in the parking lot because that est where everyone smoked or just got fresh air. Walmart parking lots at 3 a.m. feel like abandoned airports. Huge, empty, and too quiet. The light poles hum softly, and your footsteps echo across asphalt. Kevin would always park far from the entrance, almost at the edge of the lot near the trees. I asked him once why he didn't park closer. He laughed and said he liked being able to see everything. I thought he meant avoiding door dings. About 2 months in, little things started bothering me. Kevin never clocked out exactly when the rest of us did. He disappeared before 7 a.m., saying he had to beat traffic, which made no sense because there was no traffic at that hour. One morning, I forgot my hoodie in the break room and went back inside after clocking out. As I walked past the security monitors near customer service, I saw something that made me stop. One of the camera feeds showed the parking lot. Kevin's car wasn't leaving. He was just sitting there, engine off, lights off, and he was still inside. I figured maybe he was on the phone. But 10 minutes later, when I drove past the edge of the lot on my way out, his car was still there. Windows slightly cracked. No movement. It felt strange, but I told myself not to overthink it. A week later, something worse happened. Around 4:30 a.m., one of the younger employees, a girl named Alyssa, came inside from her break looking pale. She told us someone had been standing between cars near the far end of the lot, not moving, just standing there. She thought it was a homeless person at first, but when she walked toward the entrance, the figure moved behind a truck and disappeared. Management checked the cameras, but couldn't see much, just a shadow shifting between vehicles. Kevin didn't say much during that conversation, just stared at the floor. After that night, I started noticing patterns. Kevin always knew when someone was going on break before they announced it. He'd glance toward the doors a few minutes before they walked out, almost like he'd been waiting. One time I joked and asked if he was psychic. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. The real turning point came during inventory week. We were scheduled later than usual and didn't get out until almost 8:30 a.m. The sun was already up. I walked outside with Marcus from electronics, and we saw Kevin near his car. But he wasn't alone. He was standing a few spaces away from Alyssa's car, looking at the driver's side door. Not touching it, just staring at it. When he noticed us watching, he quickly walked to his own car and got in. That same afternoon, Alyssa reported that someone had left a small, folded piece of paper under her windshield wiper. It wasn't a love note. It wasn't a threat. It was just a list of times. Specific times. 3:12 a.m., 3:47 a.m., 4:03 a.m. Every single time matched the minutes she had taken her breaks over the past week. Police were called. Right. They couldn't prove who left it. 2 nights later, everything unraveled. I was throwing cardboard into the compactor around 5 a.m. when I realized Kevin hadn't been on the floor for nearly 30 minutes. That wasn't like him. He was obsessive about finishing tasks. I walked toward the front windows without really knowing why. The sky was still dark, and the parking lot lights cast long shadows across the pavement. That's when I saw him. Kevin wasn't in his car. He was crouched 2 rows over, partially hidden behind an SUV, and he wasn't alone. Alyssa had just stepped outside for her break. She hadn't seen him yet. He was watching her from behind the vehicle, body low, completely still. My chest tightened so fast it hurt. For a second, I couldn't move. It didn't look random. It didn't look harmless. It looked planned. I ran outside and shouted her name. Kevin stood up immediately. Too fast. His expression changed the moment he realized I had seen him. Not embarrassed. Not surprised. Angry. He walked toward me calmly and said he dropped his phone and was looking for it. I looked down. His hands were empty. No phone on the ground. Alyssa had already rushed back inside. I told management everything. This time, they pulled camera footage from multiple angles. What they found was worse than any of us expected. Over the past 3 weeks, Kevin had been spending his entire break time walking the parking lot perimeter, not smoking, not on his phone. Just walking and stopping near certain vehicles, mostly ones belonging to female employees. Sometimes he'd crouch down beside them. Sometimes he'd stand directly behind them in the dark where the cameras barely reached. Police searched his car that night. Inside, they found a notebook. Pages filled with employee names, schedules, car descriptions, license plate numbers, notes about who left alone and who walked out in groups. Alyssa's name appeared the most. Kevin was arrested in the parking lot before sunrise. None of us ever found out what he planned to do. Maybe he hadn't fully decided yet. Maybe he was building up to it. That's what haunts me the most. The waiting, studying. The way he blended into our routine so perfectly that we never questioned him. I quit 2 weeks later. Not because Walmart was haunted, not because of a shadow in the aisles, but because every time I stepped into that parking lot at 3 a.m., I remembered how close something almost happened. How someone we joked with, stocked shelves beside, shared vending machine snacks with, had been quietly planning something in the dark. And the scariest part, if I hadn't looked out that window at the right moment, we might have never known who he really was.